What did Rabbi Meir Kahane represent? Why was he so important?
He represented love for Jews. That's what he represented. He stood up for Jews. He loved Jews. He had no hate in his heart. He was matter of fact. He was into you want to live with us, you're welcome to live with us. But if you want to murder us, then you're not welcome here. And he started off in Brooklyn protecting Jews, that when neighborhoods emptied out and the elderly were left there and people were preying on them because they were Jews, not just because they were elderly. The anti-Semitism has always been here. He stood up. He was one of the people who showed everybody how to stand up. He stood up for Soviet Jewry. He stood up for all Jews, and he was a lover of Jews. And we need that energy. We need people to love Jews more than they love,
You can say it.
pizza. Or then they love the non-Jews that hate us.
Since December 2019, the attacks on Jews in New York were committed largely, almost exclusively by blacks or Muslims.
I will tell you a story. It's a long story, but I was in New York City, and we parked a car, and my friend tapped a bumper of the car, and there was a man standing there, a black man, and he asked for the information. We said, "Is this your car?" He said, "No, it's my boss's car." So he said, "Well, let your boss, here's the license, write it down." He said, "I'm going to call the police." I said, "Go ahead." He called the police. An hour later, we came out for lunch, and there were two policewomen there, two black policewomen. And one of them said to me, "Oh, did you not give him the information because he's black?" And I put my arms out like this, and I said, "Give me a hug. You give me a hug right now." And she looked, and I said, "You give me a hug right now." And I said, "How dare you say that statement?" I said, "I marched in every march in the 60s. Yeah, there were Jewish kids that were murdered standing up for blacks." I said, don't you make that, judgment call. Yeah. And then we figured out gave them the information at the end. They made them both hug me again before we left.
Did they hug you?
Yes, they did, with smiles on their faces.
Right. So, Jews from the 60s who are not getting credit now in the black community, right?
Except by the mayor of New York.
Eric Adams.
Right.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, most of the anti-Semitism now comes from Muslims and blacks who have embraced the Palestinian cause. And unfortunately, Islam is inherently anti-Semitic.
Yes.
Yet the Jewish agencies such as ADL, the watchdogs who are supposed to be confronting it under Jonathan Greenblatt, have neglected to address the issue of a minority anti-Semitism. Is it time to take off those kid gloves?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the only way. What, you're going to hide? You're going to crawl under a corner and pretend it doesn't exist? Look what happened from hiding. We didn't stand up. We didn't say this land is ours and God gave it to us. That's what needed to be said. The Lubavitcher Rebbe was very clear, not an inch. This is land that God gave to the Jewish people. Don't mess around with it. Claim it.
Is it time for increased Jewish vigilance? And I'm saying, kinetic, physical vigilance against these kinds of pogroms that we saw here on Rodeo Drive last night?
I don't know what happened last night.
There was it was like a pogrom like they had on Shavuos in May 2020, where they were going wild in the street and tearing down the people who had Israeli flags and spitting on them and people and literal violence.
I think that the government has to take care of it, and if the government doesn't take care of it, people have to take care of it. If somebody's breaking into your house and somebody's destroying you and your family, what, you're going to just sit there? No, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't.